Hi guys, welcome back, and today I'll be doing the next part for What If Goku Married Bulma. Last time we saw the changes which led to Goku marrying his best friend, with him becoming more of a sociable person in his early life, well fitted for living in a city, and this helped him and Bulma connect better, and because of the pair getting married, they now have 2 kids. We left off with the arrival of Raditz, as a fight is about to break out. Let's cover the story. We join back as Raditz stares down both Goku and Chi-Chi, who have jumped into action. Bulma grabs her 2 sons to get them out of harm's way. However, Trunks is cocky, and he believes he can put up a good fight. Breaking free of his mother's grasp, he runs towards Raditz, stands out with his father, getting ready to fight. This gets him scolded by Goku. However, they can't pay too much attention to Trunks, as Raditz has already figured out who the kid is, and is moving quick. In a quick flurry of motions, Raditz manages to put both Goku and Chi-Chi down, before quickly grabbing Trunks and giving Goku the same offer as he did in canon, then leaving. Thanks to Goku being stronger, he manages to collect himself a bit faster, Bulma checking in on her husband, telling him they have to go get their son. Goku obviously agrees, as he calls for Nimbus, which is when Gohan says he wants to help. Having seen his brother get stolen, he does want to help out here. Bulma is very much against the idea. However, Gohan has a bit more confidence in this timeline and actually puts up a bit more of a fight. Slowly, the argument grows a bit more intense. Eventually, Gohan screams out that he wants to help, and in this moment, his power skyrockets. But it was so brief that Goku was the only one who really picked up on it. Goku, having sensed this and kind of wanting to have some help, gets down towards his son and grabs him by the head, telling him he can only help if he promises to go grab his brother and hide the moment he's got him, and more importantly to not get involved in the fight regardless of what's happening. Gohan, looking kind of shocked that he's being allowed to go, nods his head. Bulma doesn't mind this plan. She wouldn't like her son to be near the battle. However, this way it does give him something to do, and also means that Goku can concentrate fully on the fight ahead. She herself does want to help out, but she doesn't really know how at the moment. As the pair are getting ready to leave, a new arrival joins the fray in the likes of Piccolo, who, having sensed Raditz like normal, came to investigate, and having seen what happened, he realises that Raditz is a huge threat, and knows that Goku will need help. So a temporary team-up in canon is formed. However, here, it grows by 2 more members as well, with Krillin and Chi-Chi offering up their help, thanks to Chi-Chi wanting to save Trunks, and also having seen Gohan offering to go, she offered her help. Krillin is pretty much the same idea, however, he also doesn't want to look like a coward all at the same time. So the team heads off. Bulma gives most of them a lift as Piccolo flies alongside her jet. Goku runs through the plan with Gohan once more, saying that once the fighters have got Raditz's attention, he's to run in, save his brother, and then come back and hide with his mother. Gohan agrees once again, as the team land a mile away from where Raditz is. As Bulma wishes everyone luck, she tells Gohan to be fast as possible. The boy nods as he starts sneaking around a different direction to the others. Now, the team rushes over to where Raditz is, and it doesn't take long for a fight to break out. Raditz, like normal, does put up a bit of a conversation, however it doesn't last long, with the group performing really well, thanks to not only Goku being stronger, but also having the backup of Krillin and Chi-Chi, who are actually stronger than their canon counterparts as well. And this provides a window where Gohan can rush over, save his brother, and the pair then can quickly escape. Trunks does put up a bit of a fight, saying how he wants to help, but Gohan reminds Trunks what happened last time, and being the slightly older brother, he does have a small bit of power, so he can pull Trunks away when he needs to. The pair quickly escape before Raditz even notices that Gohan was on the battlefield. Now, speaking of Raditz, he is actually able to keep up with this group fairly well. He is having to pay a lot of attention, which is why Gohan had an opening like he did. But this is nothing new to Raditz. He fights multiple people at a time, all the time when he invades planets, so he can do this. Now, a big change in this fight here is Goku. Here he's a lot smarter, but not in the sense where it comes to combat. he's probably around the same. Here he's much smarter as a whole. Goku knows that during the heat of battle, people will more than often let their guard down mentally and will open themselves up to a few stupid things. So he decides right now it might not be a bad idea to learn more about his race and his brother. So, anytime he and Raditz clash, Goku asks a question about his race, about his family, about Raditz, anything he can. It does confuse Raditz, but in his overconfidence and having to pay a lot of attention to the battle, he slowly starts letting information slip, sharing a little bit of information about the Saiyans, how the race is so much stronger than these humans. The two main examples he drops is things like Zenkai's and the fact that planet Vegeta had a higher gravity than that of Earth, things that Goku and Piccolo take note of. Goku then begins to push, asking for information about the current situation of the Saiyans. Raditz avoiding attack from Krillin lets slip that the current living situation of the Saiyans isn't the best. They're actually living under the rule of a tyrant named Frieza, and before he can let anything more slip, Raditz freezes up. No one knows why, but Krillin takes the opportunity and lands a punch in on Raditz's nose. Raditz takes it but is pushed back. What Raditz heard was Vegeta screaming through the scouter, telling Raditz to shut up, making the Saiyan realise that he was oversharing information, and the scouters listened to everything said. If he had let something slip about Frieza, that would have been the end of him. So, Vegeta scolds his teammate. That causes Raditz to stop, having realised what he did. He almost freezes in fear, which is something Goku does pick up on. However, the battle only goes on hold for a few seconds, during which Piccolo shares his plan to use the special beam cannon, but he will need 5 minutes like normal. The Turtle School's trio does agree to hold Raditz off for that time, believing that they can actually do it. And if Canon Goku could do it twice nearly, I believe that the Turtle School trio could do it quite well, and probably pretty effectively. But during these few clashes they have, Goku can tell something is off with Raditz. Before he was fighting aggressively and not really making many mistakes, but here he's quite sloppy, and he's playing much more defensive. As the battle begins to drag on for a while, Chi-Chi remembers Goku's biggest weakness being his tail. Eventually, she sees an opening and grabs it, causing Raditz to freeze up and drop down to his knees. Piccolo is still charging his attack, calls out for them to hold him down, so Chi-Chi tightens her grip, with Krillin keeping him pinned as well. Goku, on the other hand, finds something weird about this whole situation, so he takes a chance to talk to his brother, asking why he froze up earlier. Raditz just calls his brother a coward and tells him to fight him like a Saiyan. However, Goku ignores this and tries to figure out what happened to his brother. Raditz doesn't speak up. He tries not to say anything, thinking about what happened. He's nervous he'll let something slip, or even worse, the idiot in front of him will make something happen. Goku thinks back to what was said before and what happened, and realises that maybe the device on his head might have something to do with it. Quickly picking it up and destroying it, Raditz is shocked at this, as Goku speaks up, saying that Raditz should share whatever's going on. He wants to help, and doesn't want to kill him if he can avoid it, but Raditz keeps biting his tongue, doesn't want to share anything else. He almost got himself killed a minute ago by Frieza, which would have been a much more tortureful death than whatever they're about to do. Slowly, Raditz starts fighting back against what's happening, causing both Krillin and Chi-Chi to scream out for Goku's help. Goku, upset that his brother won't accept this helping hand, sighs, apologising, as he goes and helps the two friends he has pin Raditz down, while they only have to wait a few more seconds before a shout from Piccolo saying the attack is ready is heard. Goku gives his brother one last chance to accept his help, but Raditz doesn't accept it, biting his tongue. He doesn't even try to talk his way out of it. He just sits there and accepts the attack. With the special beam cannon connecting with Raditz like normal, the 3 Turtle School students do manage to avoid it, but Raditz begins to slowly bleed out, with a massive hole in his chest. Goku doesn't let his brother fall to the floor, and grabs him, trying to comfort him in his final moments. He apologises for what they had to do. However, he really wouldn't accept his help, so they had no other choice. Raditz, in this moment where he's being comforted and probably cared for in the first time for years, shows a bit of weakness, at least in his eyes. He listens to his brother speaking to him. He can hear his mother in his voice, and can also see his father along his face. Raditz, for the first time, lets out a very weak smile before thanking his brother for caring, but also apologises for everything he had done, and in his last few moments of life warns his brother of the possible incoming attack from Vegeta and Nappa, who are much stronger than him. As the brothers spend the last few moments at peace, eventually Raditz dies. Goku isn't sad. He didn't really know him, and from the short time he did, he was evil, but he isn't exactly thrilled to have defeated him. It's a bittersweet moment. He can't take too long to think about it though. After hearing the incoming threat of Vegeta and Nappa, he knows they need to start preparing, and if they are so strong, he needs to make sure everyone's up to the task. Sharing what he had heard to Chi-Chi and Krillin, telling them they need to head off, collect the others, and start training with Kami. Eventually, whenever this Saiyan attack happens, they'll need everyone in top fighting strength. The pair agree, heading off quickly. Goku then looks over to Piccolo, who had heard the whole conversation. The two have a moment where they acknowledge they might need to start training together, but Goku has some other things he wants to deal with quickly. As he stands up, making a quick blast into the ground and burying his brother, he heads over to where his wife and sons are, Piccolo staying a good distance away. He hugs both Bulma and his sons. Bulma asks if everything's over, and this leads to Goku explaining that there are more coming, so they need to prepare, so he might need to head off and train for a little bit. Bulma is understanding and tells her husband to do the best he can, and asks if there's any way she can help. Goku explains there is, saying that he heard that the Saiyans came from a planet which had higher gravity than that of Earth, which is why they are naturally so strong. He's wondering if there's any way she could make something to increase the gravity that he trains in. Bulma is interested by the idea, and believes she could definitely do it. She says it could take her maybe 2 months, but she's hopefully might get some help. And hearing this, Gohan and Trunks spend a minute just whispering to one another, before they both scream up, saying how they want to help their dad defend the planet, and also want to help their mum make the gravity device. Bulma and Goku are shocked by this, with both not really wanting to have their sons on the front line from an alien invasion. Bulma, being the stricter parent, tells them that they will have to wait a little while longer before they start saving the planet. This is a good enough answer for Gohan, but Trunks, who does enjoy fighting a bit more than Gohan, is annoyed that he didn't even get to help out in this battle, so he wants to at least help some way. Bulma tells him that he won't be fighting, and an argument breaks out once again. However, Trunks, much like his brother, snaps at some point. His power skyrockets as an aura flares up around him a small bit. This time it was a bit more intense than what Gohan had showed off. However, Goku can sense that it was weaker than Gohan's boost. Piccolo also picked up on this, as they wondered what sort of potential these kids have. For a moment, Goku is almost scared by his kid's latent potential, but he's so interested to see where it stops. Small side note and an explanation. I thought to keep things fair between the siblings, I've given them both the rage boost and also the potential of Canon Gohan. However, they are for different reasons. They're very different people, but they're also got a lot of similarities. They're both a little bit more selfish, so sometimes their rage boost will come from much more selfish things. Gohan will sometimes get the same sort of boost as in canon, but this is just a quick explanation. I also do think I will have Gohan's boost be a little bit higher, but I just wanted to give a quick explanation to this all. Bulma is completely oblivious to what happened, other than the small flare of aura she saw, while Goku is stunned. He looks at both of his sons, just confused and interested. Goku for now does agree with his wife though. He doesn't want to put his sons on the front line, However, that doesn't mean he doesn't have plans to at least speak to her about their kids a little bit. After this is all done, Trunks is upset, but after the prospect of getting some training with his father, it calms him down a little bit. As things start to go much like they did in canon, the human Z-Fighters head off to train with Kami. As for Goku and Piccolo, they head off to train in the wasteland a little bit until the gravity chamber is ready, with them showing some great benefits from this small bit of training they managed to get done. Now, over with the twins, Trunks is annoyed that he won't get to help his father save the world, and more importantly, he's stuck helping his mum make the gravity machine. Don't get me wrong, Trunks does like inventing, but he's still sour about the fact he won't be able to help his father. Of course, Gohan is slightly annoyed himself. He does want to help out. However, he is much more technical than his brother, and enjoys the science behind making a device which alters gravity, so he isn't as worked up about it as Trunks. Now, the brothers are still training together. It's very different from what they would do with their father. However, they have made a routine out of at least doing a little bit of practice with Goku normally, who at the moment is away, so they only really train with one another. So they're still benefiting somewhat. Now, after a month and a half has passed, Bulma finishes the gravity chamber. Thanks to some help from Gohan and Trunks, it actually got done a lot faster. The pair can lift much heavier objects than she can, and Gohan and Trunks are pretty smart for themselves anyway, so it just helped cut down time. With it being completed, she contacts Goku, wanting to test it out, having not really tried, not wanting to put her sons in there in case something goes wrong. Goku starts coming back with Piccolo, but is a little bit away. However, over with Trunks and Gohan, the pair are interested to test the chamber out. Gohan's sciencey brain gets the better of him. They want to know if it works, and more importantly, how much stronger 10 times Earth's gravity will be on them. So, sneaking away from their mother and heading into the gravity chamber, they immediately start playing around with it, putting the chamber to 10 times Earth's gravity. Straight away they feel the effects, almost being pulled to the floor. As they struggle to move for a while, they soon start to adjust, and once they start adjusting, they start getting faster, and they begin to play around with one another, playing games, things like tag, and just chasing one another like kids do. And they don't realise it, but this is really benefiting them. After a few hours has passed, eventually Goku arrives back at home, where Bulma is waiting for him just out on their balcony. She has assumed that the kids have gone off to play with their toys, or do their normal bit of sparring, so she's not too concerned at their current location. Eventually, when Goku and Piccolo do arrive at home, the woman is of course a bit nervous about having an old enemy in their house. However, she makes it clear to Piccolo that if he does anything that she doesn't like, she won't hesitate to trap him in 1,000 times Earth's gravity in the gravity chamber. Waves a device in her hand, explaining that this remote controls the gravity in the gravity chamber from a distance, so she doesn't even have to be inside of it to put it to 1,000 times Earth's gravity. Piccolo glares at the woman, who isn't shaken, as she shows Goku to the room. When they all see Gohan and Trunks running around playing together, at first Bulma panics, seeing that the gravity machine is on and is 10 times Earth's gravity. However, she realises that her sons are hardly showing any of the effects of a heightened gravity. They're both moving around and just playing with one another. After Goku, Piccolo and Bulma watch for a few minutes, eventually she turns off with her controller. This makes the gravity much easier for the kids to move in, as they both suddenly move much faster and slam into a wall. Bulma shouts her sons over to her, and the pair get a little nervous. She asks what they were doing, as Gohan explains how they were only testing it out. Bulma is sort of proud that they can move around in there, but also understands how dangerous it was, so she scolds the two young boys a small bit. Goku, on the other hand, is just thoroughly impressed. He wasn't expecting his kids to be able to move like that, and can tell just by the little bit of running around in the room they've done for presumably only a short while, they'd improved greatly, and he wonders how much stronger he can get in there, and more importantly, the latent potential these kids have. Piccolo has also started to pick up on the seemingly endless void of potential these kids have, and is also really interested to see if he can push their abilities to the max. After Bulma is done with her short scold of the two boys, she's about to send them away. This is where Goku asks if the boys could train with them, saying it wouldn't hurt them to at least have some small training sessions in the gravity chamber with them. And also, it means that if something was to go wrong and they were to lose the battle the day the Saiyans attacked, it means that at least the boys would be strong enough to defend themselves, worst comes to worst. Bulma annoyingly can't see the fault in that logic, as she looks towards her sons and says that they can train with their father. However, for now, she wants to wait and decide if she wants them to go off and fight against these Saiyans. Both sons are thrilled as they rush over to their mother, giving them a hug before running in and getting ready to train. Goku thanks his wife, saying he'll make sure they don't push themselves too hard. However, Bulma already knows this about Goku, and she knows that he'll keep them safe, so she isn't worried at all. The woman walks away, stretching, saying how she's going to start examining that Saiyan tech, and hopefully it will help them make a ship that she's been working on for a while happen a bit faster. Goku laughs, knowing what his wife's been working on for a while. She's been complaining about it quite a bit, as Goku, his sons, and Piccolo start training over the next few months in 10 times Earth's gravity. Sometimes when Bulma's out, they even buff it up to 15, and they get some great benefits from this training. Slowly, over the course of a few months, the other Z fighters start to join in with this training. Having finished all their training with Kami, they start joining in with the training in the gravity chamber. This slows down the Saiyans and Piccolo's training, thanks to them having to hold back a little bit, because the Earthlings aren't quite as used to the higher gravity as the Saiyans are. But once they get used to it, the training ramps up massively, and over the course of a few weeks, they all start to feel massive improvements. Gohan and Trunks would really enjoy this time they get to spend with their father and all of his friends. They spend time playing around, they get to learn some cool techniques. Trunks goes around, learns a little bit from everyone. Whereas Gohan, much like in canon, forms a sort of student-master relationship between Piccolo and himself. He's interested in the alien and wants to learn more about him, but he's also aware of how dangerous Piccolo is. But thanks to Goku always being present, it means that it's a very relatively safe environment. And slowly, like normal, Gohan chips away at Piccolo's armour. Trunks also helps out here and there as well, as Piccolo sees these two as Earth's probably best defenders when they're older. Now, during this time of training, Goku actually pulls his wife aside and explains to her that he believes they might need Gohan and Trunks' help. He's aware that she might not be thrilled about it, but it would help them out somewhat. Bulma explains how she actually was always planning on letting the boys go. Granted, she isn't too excited about the idea of putting her sons on the line. However, she knows it's the planet's best shot, so she isn't going to hold that away from everyone. She just tells Goku to keep their kids safe, and also make sure that if things get too out of hand, that they have a chance to escape. Goku thanks his wife, explaining to her that he owes her one. She thinks to herself he owes her a lot, but, she loves her husband, so it doesn't really bother her too much. Now, the next day, Goku shows Gohan and Trunks where Korin's tower is, explaining to the pair that whenever the Saiyans attack, they are to fly over here instantly, get something called sensory beans, and join them on the battlefield. This being the first time the boys have heard that they will be allowed to join in on the fight, they are thrilled that they at least are going to be able to help and start practicing the route they have to take every day, getting slowly faster and better at doing it. As the training continues, let's cover some power levels because it's always a bit of fun. So starting off with the strongest is obviously Goku, who's rocking a power level of 12,000. Thanks to the higher gravity and the training partners, he has increased his power quite a bit. Over with Piccolo, he's managed to buff himself up to 8,000, keeping up with Goku and just overall really benefiting from the gravity chamber. Over with Gohan and Trunks, they're rocking a power level of 6,000. They are massively strong, and thanks to some of the training they had before, it's helped out a lot. Krillin's rocking a power level of 3,600, Tien 3,450, Chi-Chi 3,200, Yamcha 2,900, Chaozu rocking a power level of 1,800. A year has passed since the warning from Raditz, and eventually 2 ships are spotted coming into Earth's atmosphere. the arrival of Vegeta and Nappa plays out the same. However, the Z-Fighters are much more ready, and have been on alert for months now. Having never really had a deadline for when the Saiyans would show up, they've just been training the hardest they could to make sure they were ready. So, when they sense the arrival, the Z-Fighters rush into action. Both Gohan and Trunks already know their job, as they throw on their gi and rocket off towards Korin's. Goku is kind of hoping that the battle will be over long before the kids arrive back with the Senzu beans. However, he can sense Vegeta's power, and knows that he's got a bit of a battle ahead of him. But that is where I'm going to leave this part for now, because it's gone on much longer than I thought. I hope everyone enjoyed this, and I think the changes to the story are pretty fun, so I'm going to keep going with it. I'm happy to see the last part did really well, and let me know what you think is going to happen in the next part. I hope you all enjoyed, and have a great day or a good night.